Good evening. It is a brand new season of Cut Deep. Welcome to season 7, episode 1. It was a long, nice summer break. I hope you enjoyed it with the children. We've also enjoyed a wonderful week during our Emancipation Festival celebrations in August. It was great to be outside and to celebrate after 2 years on a COVID hiatus. It was quite the joyous celebration. The concept of Cut Deep was developed with a focus on encouraging the wider public to think more in depth on issues that plague us, encouraging persons to have a voice and to use that voice to invoke change. Cut Deep is an interactive platform cutting through the noise and political rhetoric. It is raw, uncut, challenging you to think critically. What do the issues mean for us? What part do we play? It is a platform that will move the Virgin Islands toward unified, integrated success. I want to thank those of you who continue to support this platform from behind the scenes. Thank you. Cut Deep is a multi-platform show covering social and political issues in the BVI. Its viewership continues to grow, reaching more than 6,000 viewers weekly. Feel free to contact us on 284-440-3234 for advertising or donation options. Also, feel free to reach out to us on any pressing issues. 5 years ago today, the BVI was devastated by Hurricane Irma, a Category 10. No one can tell me otherwise. We weren't prepared. Shock rang through the society as we stepped outside to witness the reality of who and what Irma was. It is a memory that will be etched in our minds forever. 5 years later, we are still gripped with the aftermath and trying to rebuild our lives and businesses. We have come a long way, however, but there is a lot more to be done. We continue to reflect and pride ourselves on that Virgin Islands resiliency. Yet we rise.
In a matter of minutes, what we as BVI residents knew as life was quickly swept away from us. We watched helplessly as everything we owned flew through winds of 180 miles per hour. Just like that, in a moment, a blink of an eye, with no warning and very little time to prepare, we were left with little to nothing to call our own. On September 6, 2017, Hurricane Irma affected the livelihood of the territory's residents in more ways than one. The experience resulted in substantial damage which surpassed the gross domestic product of the British Virgin Islands and caused widespread destruction to the housing market, road infrastructure, educational institutions, tourism sector, ports, electrical infrastructure, healthcare, and other critical facilities. Most notably to us, telecommunications. With almost 100% of the island relying on us for communication, our CCT towers were all destroyed. Our main hub and source of communication was no more. And so, the road to recovery began, bit by bit. 1 year later, and CCT is still we. Together, along with you, our valued customers, we continue to stand as a testament of local ingenuity, passion, and perseverance. Despite our most tragic circumstances as a country and company, when natural disasters threatened our livelihood, we remain steadfast in our fight to rebuild. We continue to compete and grow. We are indeed a telecommunications company that all residents should be proud of. We stand with each of you as you continue to rebuild and restore your lives with heart. CCT takes a moment to remember those lives lost during the storm and in the months thereafter. CCT, the home team.
Thank you for viewing that video. It was a reflection of what we endured or the aftermath of the hurricane. Tonight we have BVI Festival and Fairs Chairperson Dirk Walters, who I am delighted to have in studio once again. We are going to start this new season out similar to how we closed out the last, the real update on Festival 2022. We'll take a short break and be right back.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
She? I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Good night and welcome back. It's a new season of Cut Deep, Season 7, Episode 1. I want to thank those of you who continue to support this platform from behind the scenes. Thank you. Cut Deep is a multi-platform show covering social and political issues in the BVI. Its viewership continues to grow, reaching more than 6,000 viewers weekly. Feel free to contact us on 284-440-3234 for advertising or donation options or any pressing issue you wish to discuss. As mentioned before we took the break, tonight we have BVI Festival and Fairs Chairperson Dirk Walters, who I am delighted to have back in studio. We are going to start this new season out similar to how we ended the last. It's a real update on Festival 2022. Dirk.
Yes, ma'am.
My
How are you doing?
friend, it's so good to have you back again. Of course, I'm going to have you introduce yourself because we always have new viewers every week.
Sure.
New people tuning into the platform. And so if you can just introduce yourself to us and we can go from there.
Well, first and foremost, thank you to you once again for having me. Always elated to be on this wonderful platform. And I'd like to say congratulations for an entire 7th season. That's
you.
incredible. So, just a brief introduction. For the persons that may not know me, my name is Dirk Walters. I am the chairman for Virgin Island Festival and Fairs Committee. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Dirk. Before we get into it, Dirk, I want to talk about something that happened to me today.
Okay.
And I think I can freely talk about it with you. So I was just running around doing some last minute school shopping, earlier today. And I was passing. Let's say the money been done before it even starts. You know how it goes with these children. You got to pay for this and that and shoes and this and all sorts of things.
I know, indeed.
And so, I was heading to, and I was in the area of Bolos. And I passed a group of people and I was waving and saying hi because these are people that I know for years, from the time I was like in high school. But I had on a cap. So you could say I was kind of incognito. You could say that. So I waved and I realized like one person didn't wave back. And I waved again and then I took off my hat. I said, I'm taking off my hat because I feel like you don't recognize me. So
Wow.
And she's like, yeah, I recognize you. So I stopped. I was like, okay, what is the problem? So I went straight over to her because I like to deal with issues. So I went straight over. I was like, well, what's the problem? What did I do? So she said, Cindy, is it really you're the person, sending out all of these things about people? So I said, what do you mean? She said, yeah, everybody is saying it's you that sent out this thing, and you called my son's name. I said, who's your son? And she called her name. I said, who is that? Like, I didn't, you know them from young, but you don't.
Yeah.
So I said, what are you referring to? She said, I can't remember the name of it. And as we're talking, I said, I have an idea of what you're talking about because I've heard this before, but I'm super surprised that you even believe this to be a thing. But in my mind now, for her to feel that way, I'm thinking there must be other people out there really feeling like I am, or it's a possibility. And so she said, it's on the tip of my tongue. And I said, it's on mine too. I know the platform you're talking about. And we just kept going back and forth. And then I said, Mika Barry. She's like, yeah, Mika Barry. I said,
That's you?
Dog,
I'm just kidding.
I was stunned because she felt it to be true because so many persons had said to her that it's me, or they think it's me. And, she said she tried to get her son's name cleared. And she went to, the police, and she tried to talk to lawyers. And she said a couple of the lawyers and there were a couple of police officers that were saying to her, oh, they think it's me. So I said to her, you know, every platform that I go on, I am, you know, it's me. I say whatever I have to say.
I was
You
just
know-
about to say,
You know,
I think anyone,
what do you call me?
anyone that, Cindy Facts.
He calls me Cindy
Yeah.
Facts.
Because I think anyone that remotely knows you or knows of you should know by now. I mean, I'm the same way. We don't dance around anything.
Yeah.
We deal with issues and persons head on. So
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would believe that. I never would. You know,
Yeah,
I know way better than that.
I was
But
really.
you also have to understand, Cindy, that I mean, we live in a society where it takes just one person to say something and then another person repeats it, and whether it's factual or not, they consider it to be the word of God, so to speak, and that's
Yeah, but
unfortunately how it goes.
we have to get from that place,
course.
because then what you do is that you endanger
Yes.
people's lives, right?
Yes.
And I guess she's referring to a specific video. She said the video that came out after the former premier was arrested.
Wow.
So I said to her, I said, well, you know, one, you know that I stand behind anything that I have to say. I'm going to say it straight up. But two, this platform has been around before I even moved home. So how does one episode come out now and all in a sudden,
Yeah.
you know, I'm that person or that platform that nobody seemed to know who is. They even attacked me once because, you know, I brought the senator from St. Thomas, and, you know, her lifestyle didn't sit well
I
with
remember
them.
that.
And
I
so
remember
they
reading
attacked
some
me.
unfortunate comments about that.
Yes. So I wanted to share that with you, and I'm gonna say again, because I've addressed this rumor before,
Okay.
that I have no idea who this platform is. It is not me. Whatever I have to say, I say very clearly, whether it's on my social media, whether it's on this platform, because any platform that I happen to be on, and, you know, scandalizing people like that, that
Yeah.
is
As you said,
just
it's,
not me.
As you said, and it's a dangerous thing too.
It's very
and I think a lot
dangerous.
of persons don't understand, you know, certain ways that they like to put your names in certain scenarios and situations. They don't really understand the danger behind of it, because
Correct.
certain persons take things very literal.
Yes.
You
Yes.
understand?
And
you know.
I actually said to her, I said, you know, based on that video, if it really was me, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. And you know that to be a fact. So,
Well, that's good that
we-
you can come and, you know, and clearly
Yeah.
articulate that, you know,
yeah, well,
it's not you.
I've said it before on a couple platforms, but we have to be careful when we do things like that. We throw people under the bus,
And
and we
unfortunately,
endanger
a lot of
lives.
us,
you know?
unfortunately, a lot of us don't even care. It's like they're happy to do so, but anyway.
Or to pass the blame, pass the buck. That's not me. Government business, check me. I'm going to check that all the time. Your personal business, if you don't have anything to do with government, happily do your thing. I could not be concerned. Dirk, let's get into it. The last time you came on my
Alright.
platform, you
Yes,
created
ma'am.
a muck, a havoc,
I did?
chaos
Really?
across the place.
I don't
It was
recall
a
that.
very interesting aftermath as we're
Okay.
looking at Orma. It was quite interesting, but much to do about nothing.
Indeed.
So exactly. So I want to congratulate you again
Thank
and
you.
your team, your committees for such a successful festival celebration. There was some controversy or perceived controversy, you know, leading up to the festival. I mean, just before the festival, you did an interview here, which we just talked about, and that created a little windstorm. Nonetheless, let's get to the success of Festival 2022 and what we can look forward for 2023. Dirk, if you can set the tone for us and the environment for Festival 2022, the lead up, and we can go from there.
Yeah, well, that's no problem. Festival 2022, first and foremost, I have to say a huge thank you to everyone in the entire community, the government of the Virgin Islands, BVI Tourist Board, all our sponsors, you know, including 284, of course, you know, and CCT. It was a tremendous undertaking, always is, but like I say, my back is broad, you know, team is strong, and, you know, people need to understand, like, for instance, when we got in these positions, like myself and my vice chair and the treasurer, we all came in at the same time.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how you really know it's a different level of leadership, because first and foremost, we basically inherited a team. Like,
Right.
there's not one person that I brought on the committee even up to now. And, you know, we work with who and what we have. You have relevant persons in the right places that have the different skill sets, and you put it to work. You know, you execute. You know, a lot of persons like to focus on the narrative of hype.
Right.
You know, but it's substance over hype for
Absolutely.
me. And I just believe in execute, execute, execute. So action speaks louder than argument, and we are where we are now.
Brilliant.
Simple as that.
Yes, I mean, it certainly panned out this time that keep your head down, do what you have to do, and let the results speak for itself. And
Indeed.
the results indeed did speak. So the announcement for Festival 2022 came out late.
Yes.
We understand all that surrounds that in terms of we were coming off of COVID. We weren't sure. We were in the thrust of a COI and arrested premiere. So we didn't know what was going to happen. So you got that late, but you were able to still put an exceptional experience together. What was your budget for this year festival? Because one of the big conversations was that the budget was, I would say, less than half of what it normally is.
It definitely was less than half.
And you were able to still pull off a really successful event. If you
Yeah.
want to talk to us about that.
Well, you know, there were several constraints, time and money being the top two. And time is always a bigger constraint than money to me, because there are ways to get a lot of things done without money, you
Yes.
know, and we were able to get many things done without money, at least even upfront, because, you know, I always say the biggest currency in life are relationships.
Correct.
And because of certain relationships that myself and certain other persons possess, you know, we're able to link with different
Pull on
persons,
those.
service providers, and we pull on those and we get things done. So where there's a will, there's a way. It's as simple as that, you know. So the budgetary constraints were one thing, but the time was the biggest factor, to be honest. And I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone on the executive committee and everyone on all the other subcommittees for Virgin Islands Festival and Fans, because it was countless hours of, you know, planning and execution, you know, like 4 and 5 hour meetings several times a week, persons out of their homes on weeknights till 1 and 2 in the morning. And this stuff, right, is not just sitting down having board meetings. Like, I don't know about any other board or whatever else
Right.
around here, but when it comes to us, you're talking about physically working, putting in a sweat equity, you know, and running around getting things done. Like, you know, those of us that put in the actual physical work, you know, you roll up your sleeve, whether you have to be the messenger for that night, you have to be the groundsman, the laborer, the stage manager, whatever needs to be done, you do it.
And you
And-
got it done.
Yeah.
And your team was fully committed.
definitely.
You can mostly say.
Yeah.
And they came out and they did what they had to do. So I have we had a few major big issues.
One second there, I think I forgot. Well, everyone on the committee were all volunteers, of course, because
Yes.
no paid positions or anything. But
Right.
everyone is a volunteer. But we had some additional volunteers as well, including some younger folks, young people and kids and stuff that came out and volunteered, like with the village committee and things like that.
Right.
That helped a lot. So definitely big up to all the volunteers.
Good. Is there, while we're on that, then, is there a move towards, you know, having members of the committee receive a stipend? I know there was a conversation. Has that gone any further?
I think there have been some conversations even before I got there. These are things that were trying to be worked on from in the past. I'm not sure how soon it will happen, or even if it will ever happen. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, that's beyond me.
One thing I was on the heels of the end of festival, I was waiting to see if you guys would put out a save the date, and you did. And to be honest, you don't have to put out a whole string of activities that will
no.
happen. You just need to put out a
Yeah.
save the date to say yes.
Exactly.
See you in 2023.
Exactly. Like I
don't-
say,
yes.
where there's a will, there's a way. And this is a
Correct.
whole different level of energy, whole different level of leadership now. And this is not a knock to anybody in the past, you know.
Right.
This is just saying that, remember the whole premise of this thing, we are pushing Virgin Islands festivals and fairs to a level where we want it to be an entity that is so well revered and respected on an international and regional stage.
As
And
it
we want
should
to get
be.
it to the point where festival is self-sustainable, all of these different things. So you have to put in the work. It's a tremendous amount of work, but we're pushing for it and we're gonna get it done. So we wanna get that energy out there from early, let persons know that, listen, and this is not just for, and remember, it's BVI Festival. It's not just Road Tongue, it's not just Virgin Gorda, it's BVI Festival, because Virgin Islands Festival and Fairs is tasked with the execution, planning, all of this stuff of festival and fairs throughout the entire year.
I want to think that I saw, was there a survey that went out from you guys?
I was told about one. I actually got an email, but we didn't have any input in that. I think that came from one of the government department, the one that deals with statistics.
Okay.
I think that I'm not sure of the name now. It used to be called DPU.
Okay.
I think it came from then. So I think they're basically just trying to get feedback from the general public and
Okay.
things like that. So it was sent out. I know about it, but the survey actually wasn't done by us, by
Okay.
Virgin Island Festival and Fairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. As we were talking, I just remembered that
Yeah.
something went out in regards to the festival, but I can't remember what the survey was about. I'm really only interested in one part
Yeah.
of any survey at this point as it relates to festival, and we'll get to that
Sure.
a little closer down. There were a few big issues that were appearing to plague the Festival and Fairs Committee for this year, and they kind of ended up in the media constantly. And I mean, if you ask me, it was quite a distraction that really ended up to being nothing. But I still want to talk about them
Sure.
again. We probably may not touch all of them. We'll touch as much as we could and then take a break and come back.
Okay.
So one of those big things was the committee's fundraising night and the issue of booth holders opening. How did that work out in the end?
Okay. That was the night we had Destra.
Right.
Oh yes. Okay.
Right, there was-
So that was a grand lunch.
Right.
Basically, as we said before, as custom from years before, one time they did it as a few times they did it as a black party. Another time it was done in a parking lot down in town and stuff like that. So we decided with having, certain concession with the stage and stuff being ready a little bit before time, that we'd actually use the festival grounds because
Right.
they're ours, for a period of time during the year. They're, for the use of Festival and Fairs Committee, so we decided to use that. And I think there were a few persons that were disgruntled because it wasn't included in their original contract or agreement, because the village was going to open on the Wednesday night, So something was done. There was some kind of arrangement worked out where they were allowed to open and sell. And some of them were. Not every single last one open, but some of them did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one, there was, let me do the troops first. I'm
Okay.
gonna do the troops and we'll take a break. There was some issues with the troops, and so it made the August Monday parade a bit smaller. I think people still really enjoyed it
Yes.
because I think a big part of the parade is, mingling and, seeing each other,
It's a community involvement.
Right. So talk to me about that issue and what is the plan, to work closer with the troops moving forward.
Well, definitely just advanced planning, better communication, of course. As I said before, initially we're not going to be able to facilitate a parade at all.
Right.
It was looking that way, and then we kept pushing. It's like, listen, we need to find a way to get this done. We can't not have an August Monday parade.
Right.
So as I said before, we decided that, hey, we'll invite persons to come and let them know, listen, unfortunately, they won't be able to have that kind of financial injection, to help you with your troop and stuff like that. So some persons, unfortunately, it wasn't just the money. So I want persons to understand, it's not just about money, it's time. Because just like with anything else, with planning events, persons need material, they need costumes, they need to be able to hire entertainment. There's only a certain amount of sound systems here. There's only a certain amount of generators here.
Right.
Flat racks, trailers, truck drivers available. All of these intricate things, So being able to do that, unfortunately, some would say, well, we don't have the time. Even though some of them actually went out and tried to get sponsorship, and they did.
Right.
But then they realized, hey, they pressed for time. Even they're trying to express ship in some of
Right,
the stuff,
right.
they couldn't get their things on time. And some of them were of the mindset that they could have gone and done maybe like a t-shirt troop or whatever, but they kind of felt like, hey, they don't want to go down that road. They felt like they set a certain standard and they
Right.
want to keep their standard. And that's within their right. And I respect
course,
that.
of course.
So, we would say, okay, well, hope to see you next year going forward. So we plan to actually, even like for instance with the boot owners as well, I went to a meeting with them and I said, listen, this is a two-way street. This is a relationship. So it's not just like we're going to come and we say, hey, this is what it is. And no, we want to hear from them. Like we're going to have follow-up meetings with boot owners, vendors, troops. We're going to have follow-up meeting with troops and all of these things starting from very early, So going forward is going to have a lot of planning and with the input of all of these persons, so everyone has a say so, because everyone doesn't know everything. So
Right.
it's up to us all to work together.
Okay. So is the ability to, give the bands, or not the bands, well, I call them bands, but the troops, any financial injection, is that totally out the door, or is it under consideration for 23?
Well, anything is subject to change, because once again, it's not just up to me, and these decisions aren't solely made by me. It's a
Right.
board, it's the executive. So just to get that out of the way, because a lot of persons seem to have that misconstrued, oh, Doc, you're doing this and deciding that it doesn't work like that. I can be outvoted, and I have been several
Right.
times
Of
on
course.
several different issues. And it's fine, because it's a democracy. That's what it is.
Right.
Right? So going forward, things, there may be some concessions made for certain things. It all depends on what we're able to do at the given time.
Right.
And if we're able to do, because none of us know what's going to transpire between now and next year.
Yes.
Financially, with the economy, whatever, we're going to do our best. But if we can't do it, then we just can't do it.
Absolutely.
We can't force our hand.
Absolutely. So what is the feedback that you're having from booth owners? They seem to have had a good
Yeah.
week.
I think for the most part, from what I've been hearing from the majority of them, they did pretty well. Or, a lot of persons have come to me and say, they really appreciate, our efforts and things like that to try to accommodate them. And there were some discrepancies here and there, and you're not going to agree.
Right.
As with anything else in life, we're not all
Right.
going to agree, but we have to try to do things in the best interest for everyone involved, not just one or two persons. And, we could come to some compromises here and there. And for the most part, like I said,
Worked
they
out.
seem pretty happy. They worked out okay
Okay.
for them. There were a couple of issues. I think there were one or two vendors on the other side. Their main complaint was they actually congratulated us in terms of pulling something together, like for the Funland, that at least we had something. But again, because of time and financial constraint, we weren't able to bring the traditional Coney Island, as persons
Right.
know it,
Right.
to the village grounds. But they were very happy that we at least brought something. But they
Okay.
kind of felt like they know it would have been better if, we'd had more traction if we had a full Coney Island. And,
Understood.
that's understood. We can't fault persons for, we sit down, we listen to persons' opinion, and I would go around, speak to boat owners, myself and Bertram, speak to the vendors,
Right.
and get feedback from everyone so we can just plan better going forward. We can only get better. We definitely don't plan to get worse.
Okay, sounds good. Was there an increase in booths this year?
I
There
don't
was a
think
higher number?
I don't think there was an increase. I think it was around the same amount of booths, if not maybe one or two more than previously.
Okay.
So even though there were some persons, maybe like a couple of long-standing persons that were in there that unfortunately couldn't make it because they weren't able to
Okay,
prepare
so
in
their
time.
spaces.
Their
okay.
spaces, there were some other persons that got the opportunity, and I'm really very happy. I'm elated to have seen so many of our young people
Yes.
too have boots
Yes.
in the village. That was
Yes.
so exciting for me.
Yes.
And even in the Funland aspect of it, to see local businesses get an opportunity and to see the potential.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you give people opportunity and you create that for them, and they may not see the vision, but they see it now. So, and persons will come
Creates
to me, like
growth.
even in the village ground when we had these huge performances, and I'll be standing up on the side, and they'll come to me like, well, look, I'm like, y'all wouldn't understand, man. Like this is our baby, this is, it's a sense of pride and
Yes.
of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about the talk and the naysayers and all of that, because I know my ability. I know the ability of the persons I'm walking alongside with. And like I say, where there's a will, there's a way. So it was a really great feeling seeing it,
How
come to fruition, That was really great.
So is there a waiting list for the booths?
A waiting list. How they usually do it, from what I understand, is that they would have a list from persons that were previously there, like from whether it was last year or
Right, they
the year
get
before.
first preference.
And they will call around, get feedback and say, hey, listen, festival is coming up. Are you going to be interested? Are you going to have your
Right.
booth again and whatnot? And I think they give some kind of preference to the long-standing persons, persons that have literally been there for decades, because some of these persons too, even if you don't see them there every night, like they will have their children or
Right.
whatever the case
Run
is.
in the booths,
But you would
right.
contact them and ask them if they want to be there. And then from there, you have the applications and you go through
Okay.
a process because they have to sign a contract. There's certain
Right.
agreements
Right.
and commitments that they have to make and abide by certain protocols. And once they're willing to do that, then it goes forward.
Sounds good. We're going to take a short break and come right back.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Why? This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this thing like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit, I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Livestream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1 month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
At Blossoms, our floral experts use their creative flair to design beautiful and exotic bouquets. We are the on-island wedding experts, and for boating enthusiasts, we can help you to add a touch of floral elegance, life, and color to your yacht, mega yacht, both locally and internationally. We've even worked with celebrities. At Blossoms, we continue to deliver smiles and watch our customers bloom.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of Cut Deep. We're on season 7, episode 1. In our studios tonight, we have the chairperson, Dirk Walters, the Festival and Fairs Committee. And so we're getting a real update download on Festival 2022. So Dirk,
Yes, ma'am.
as we continue, we were speaking about the major issues that were appearing to rear their heads during festival this year. And one of the big ones, or two of the last two big ones that I consider to be, there seemed to be an issue that was brewing between the media and Tola Radio. And the last time we tried to speak about that on this show, things went a little crazy on the other side. But if you can talk to us about the relationship with the media, Tola Radio, how that all went down for festival, and if everything was worked out, etc.
Yeah, I think in the end, everything worked out as far as I know. We're at the point now where, we're trying to close off everything, of course. There's just a few more little things here and there, last minute details you know, in terms of paying persons like that maybe didn't send the invoices till late and things like that. But we're clearing all of that stuff up so we can move forward, you know, finish up our official report and then start planning from now to get ready, because we got to get ready for Virgin Gorda, of course, and then Tortola next year. We want to be able to book artists from early, you know, book flights, accommodations and things like that. And also other things we're planning on doing as well, little off topic there, but you know, even working with like entertainers here and bands to try to really get them to excel in their craft and grow and cultivate them. So maybe getting some kind of workshops together. Definitely next year. One thing that I really missed this year was the Calypso competition. Even though we had a Calypso review as part of it, the Calypso competition, and especially this year where the topics were so plentiful.
Yes.
You know, I would have really loved, that's one of my personal favorites, Calypso. You know, but in terms of the media, you know, we made several strides because, and we still continue to do so, to forge and maintain great relationships with all the stakeholders. You know, whether it be the media, whether it be police, whether it be, you know, government departments and agencies, whoever it is, you know. I'm all about relationships and trying to have that mutual flow of information and stuff. You know, we had like a media mixer, you know, where we invited the media only and said, listen, let us know, how can we service you better? How can you service us? How can we work together to get things done? And things like that have never been done, as simple as it sounds. It's very important to do things like that. I know that things went a little bit weird. You know, I wasn't listening. I really don't have the time. You know, when my tunnel vision is on and I'm focusing on the task at hand and execute, I have no time for the side stuff. You know, so I would hear this and hear that, and I don't let it bother me. You know, obviously there's a lot of miscommunication. You know, there's a lot of misunderstandings. But at the end of the day, it really means nothing at the end of the day. You know, we're here to do a task, to get the job done. We're here to push the culture and engage the community and give value for money and be accountable and transparent with the people's money. And that's our task.
So, I mean, that's great that you handled that well. In your mind, what does, you know, the best relationship or partnership between the Festival and Fairs Committee and the media, what does that look like to you?
Well, it looks like I said, like we would have, we actually had the meeting with them, the mixer and stuff, and we basically needed to get an understanding of what it really takes on their end. Because, like, for instance, if I'm into production, I'm into event planning and logistics and these things, I may not necessarily know, well, from their perspective or their aspect, what it takes. So you want to get an understanding. And that's with like I said, with our stakeholders. So basically get from them, well, and we learn a lot of things from that. You know, basically even when, like, dealing with, one thing I'm very proud of that the media actually, you know, bigged us up for as well is doing events starting on time, you know, and things like that. And you know how I stay with time already, so anything I have to do with it, it has to be time is time.
Time is time.
Things will happen. You know, we have setbacks, little lulls here and there, but for the most part, that was done. So yeah, just having that great relationship and making it better going forward. And relationships of understanding, a two-way street, meaning, okay, and not because you say you want something means you're going to get it, but you know, you have to walk with us, we have to walk with each other, with one another. So and that's simple as that. A level of respect. A level of respect both ways. So it's not just like, oh, yeah, you are the media, we'll allow you to come in here. No, we work with you. You know, we want to have relationships. You know.
Sounds good. So the big one, Eastern Juve.
Okay.
What's my question?
You tell me.
What do you think my question is? You know,
you could ask anything. You know, there's several. There's
only one.
Intricate parts of that one thing that you can ask.
Okay.
And you know that too.
Here's my question then. So, the traditional route for Eastern Juve is to the east, to the bridge. I think once we've gone over to the beach this year, we went over to the beach.
Correct.
But the announcement came out that it was going in the other direction to Brandywine. Some commotion happened. Then an unofficial flyer came out that this was the real Juve and it was going to the beach. So people were confused, I think, up to a couple of days before I think we started asking online. So, Dork, where is East Juve? We're not hearing anything.
Well, I want to speak on that part first because allow me to answer that.
Sure.
That part is very unfortunate. That part about it was the part that we felt more slighted as a committee.
Disrespected.
Disrespected.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Because especially if you're going to put out a flyer poster and then you label it the real Juve. So anyhow, basically what happens, I mean, that's water under the bridge.
Of course.
But what happened is some private individuals got together and I think they were, for lack of a better word, unhappy.
Right.
I use that, you know, that what transpired in the decision. And it wasn't even like a concrete 100% decision at the point either. It was, you know, a proposal that was suggested and persons from the East came up with that. It wasn't us.
Right.
And a lot of stuff went down that persons don't even know. Like persons sent physical threats my way and things like that. It got that bad, you know. But at the end of the day, you know what time it is.
I mean, yeah, but how does that make you feel? Like, I just feel
like it's unfortunate that we still live around certain persons that could take the most trivial things and, you know,
say these kind of things. Be threatened for Juve.
Well, they could threaten all they want, you know. I'm through the East every single day.
That's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it was disappointing, but it is what it is, you know. Persons are passionate about different things. Certain persons wanted to not see it go the other route. So at the end of the day, what transpired is that there was a decision made that they would go back to the traditional route. It was voted upon.
Okay.
And that's what happened because some persons were for it. Some persons were against it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so there were actually a whole lot of persons that were looking forward to the new route, actually.
Yeah. I would have liked to see how it worked out.
But you know how some of us are, we refuse to even even to consider change.
Yeah.
You know, and then some persons at the higher ups get involved and there's you know, I had a couple of sit-down meetings with some individuals and they express, you know, their whole take on the thing and whatnot. And then we just took it back to the committee and it was voted upon. It had to go to a vote and the majority voted to go back for the original route, and that's what transpired. Now the part with the flyer now, that happened because a couple of individuals that are business persons, you know, proprietors of businesses up on that end, they felt like they wanted to do their own thing because they were not happy with what they heard was going to happen.
Right.
So they went ahead and started contacting entertainers, bands, different things like that, and try to basically put their own thing together. So when that flyer went out, because even the main entertainer on that flyer contacted me afterward and say, well, Dorky, what's going on? I say, well, my brother, just to let you know, to be fully transparent, the persons that contacted you, those are not Virgin Island Festival and Fairs affiliated persons. They're not committee members, so those are private individuals. So if they contacted you and they have something else going on, that has nothing to do with us. You know, and he was like, wow, you know, whatever the case is, you know, he's sorry. I said, like, you don't have anything to be sorry about, you know. It's not your fault. So, you know, and we just made it happen and had the Juve up there. So we ended up having 2 bands on the road up there. So because one actually reached out to us and said they were interested in playing. They had the trailer, the generator, the truck, the sound system and everything. And if they could, so we just had to get, you know, the requisite, you know, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we allow that.
There are 2 questions I have in there. One was further down, but I'm going to ask it right in this segment. But one is the Brandywine business community that had started financially planning to have the event in that direction.
Brandywine Day?
Yeah.
No, well, when I say Brandywine Bay, you said there's a committee or? No.
Brandywine Bay
business
owners, that had already
sorry.
started financially planning for the events to come in that direction. Has anyone spoken to you about that? Were they compensated? Well, I guess the first thing is, did anyone from that community come and say anything to you?
No.
That they were out financially or anything?
No. No one has spoken to me about any of that. The
Premier hasn't said anything to you?
No, and the vice chair was the one that really was taking up the mantle with dealing with anything up in the East. he hasn't told me anything about Parsons business, Parsons in the Brandywine Bay area. You mean in terms of like if they thought that an event like that was being planned and they would go and...
the fact that it was announced that it was going to go to Brandywine Bay, and so there are businesses down there that had apparently that had started preparing financially.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like stocking up and things like
Right.
that. Okay, I
I
understand.
don't know if the conversation is within them and other persons, but it came to me. So I was wondering if you knew
Okay, no, I have no
of
idea.
it,
I
or
have no
if
idea.
anybody came to you at all. Okay,
No,
so
I have no idea.
I guess if that is an issue, they would reach out, and it'll go more from a little rumbling to, oh, Dirk, we actually did this, and what can we do?
Okay,
about
well, as I say,
All right.
I really don't have anything.
Correct.
You know,
All right. So,
I have no
like I said, it
knowledge
was
and-
it was something that came
Yeah.
to
No,
me,
I
and I felt like
understand.
I would ask you about it.
Yeah, sure,
To
I understand.
the other thing that I want to ask about, since we're on that, and you talked about the other band being on the road for Eastern Juve, there was another little flare up because, you know, I mean, I'm not relevant, but somehow
They
when
say
I
I'm
voice
messy.
my little when I voice my little opinion, it seems to go from here to Timbuktu.
Because you're powerful.
I don't know, because I'm not relevant apparently, but
Cindy, only when you're big they talk about you, you understand?
so, you know, I made a comment on my page, and I didn't say not to have the other band. I simply said, can we have another band on the road? That was
Yeah,
my
and that's your right,
position.
because that's your
Correct,
opinion,
Correct.
yeah.
But I mean, it went left, and
I didn't see anything wrong in what you said.
right. That day I felt a little idle. So
Because
wherever the
I might say,
conversation,
if you're going and you're gonna have say an old school thing, and somebody says, that's for instance, like somebody says, oh, we're gonna have say Imagination Brass. I might
Right.
say, I wish you all had the jam band, because
Right.
that's my
right,
you
right.
know, my
Yes,
choice.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
So right. So it went a little left. I mean, I had a little bit of time on my hand that day, and I felt like being naughty. So I let the conversation go wherever. But but if we're truly to speak about it, and this is again my own personal opinion,
And you're
I
entitled to it.
feel, and I think that our bands have done a lot of work. They've grown exponentially. I feel like when it comes to our festival, that on the road for Rise and Shine and Juve, I personally feel that it should be Virgin Islands bands. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's the sentiment that's been passed on for many years, you know. I think what happened is that cultural, you know, is a culture that we got so accustomed, because like, for instance, even like something like Calypso Show, Calypso competition, we used to get bands like Imagination Brass
Right.
to back up in
Right.
those times. But then
Because we didn't have
we
the
didn't
bands.
have.
Correct, that's right.
Then after a while now, when you had great musicians like the music teacher, you know, Mr. Selwood and Mr. Andre Bratwit and all of these phenomenal
Dion
musicians,
and they all
Dion Buckwheat
kept
and all
coming
those
forward,
guys,
yeah.
and you know, a lot of great students came
Yeah.
out through the band program in the school,
Yeah.
so they started to use the school band. That was really great to see that, and then they got other bands and musicians to do it. It's the same thing now. Back in those days, we used to use Imaginations and Jam Band and those bands on the road,
Right.
because none of our bands were really on that level and didn't really have powerful enough song systems
Correct.
and things like that. But now we do.
Correct, and that's my
So-
point. Like you said, you have your culture, you're building it, you want to stick to it. You know, even if it's not your culture, you're building the BVI, you're building a nation, and as you build, you're still putting down. So
Yeah.
here the bands, they're doing all you've asked them to do. They're investing their time, their money. You know, they're building themselves, and still at this point where they are, where they could compete with any band.
Yeah.
And I'll say now any band in the Virgin Islands or the wider Caribbean, why do we have to insist on holding them back? I mean, Dirk, you wouldn't believe
Well, I
how
mean,
much conversation that thing brought. I had people, you know, challenging, you know, wanting to take me back to Virgin Islands music school and how all of that, you know, schooling me in music. And I, you know, I mean,
Well,
I had to smile because I don't think people
put it this
realize
way.
how deep I'm entrenched in Virgin Islands entertainment.
Yeah, put it this way. Like,
so-
I heard a couple of persons say things like, well, such and such band played in town for Juve,
Yeah.
so why let them play on the road for Eastern? And I'm like, you think you could go St. Thomas and let us St. Thomas band play on the road today, and if they're playing, have another one tomorrow, tell them they can't play on the road.
Correct.
You don't see that
You
anywhere.
just-
If you go to
yeah.
St. Vincent, you going to like 20-something Skinny Fabulous or Problem Child events.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah. You have to, I say to people that Destra, like you say, Skinny Fabulous, any of them.
it could be whoever.
Their people build them.
Mm-hmm.
They put that momentum behind them. They invest in them.
Yes.
If they need to go overseas, they make that happen, because when they travel, they're traveling. They're
Mm-hmm.
taking the whole island that they represent with them. And I try to say it's the same thing for the Virgin Islands. Like, you have to build yours at home. You have to celebrate them. You have to let
Yes.
them be the driving force.
And that's why you see when persons were like, for instance, I use a small reference for festival just gone there.
Yeah.
When they talk about reggae night, persons will be talking about, reggae night featuring, like we had Steel Pulse, and I
Yeah.
think it was Ding Dong or some other artists. Kind of hard to remember everyone,
Yeah.
but yeah. And I was like, listen, correction. International Reggae Night, we are featuring Ritical and Sister Joyce. Steel Pulse, they are our guests.
Yeah.
This is our festival.
Yeah.
They are guests.
Yeah.
So when we bring whether bands from wherever, could be right next door, they are our
They're
guests, and
guests.
we welcome them. We love
Yes,
them.
of course.
And we respect them.
Yeah.
But this is our festival and they are our guests.
Yeah.
So we are featuring Vibe, we are featuring whoever else we're featuring,
Yeah. Because this is Virgin
Yeah.
Islands Festival.
And that's how I see it, and that's how it should be portrayed
Yes.
and marketed and promoted.
Correct. I think, quite often we want things, but we don't exactly understand what we want when we say, we want to see more of the Virgin Islands. That's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
When you see festival come around there and this is for years, I don't want to hear nothing but I want to hear my music. That's why I want to hear morning, noon, and night.
Yeah,
and when
facts.
festival done, if I tired with it, I don't want to hear it for another week or two. I good, but during festival, and I'm telling you, when the local bands finish, some of them like Vibe that go way in the morning, you'll find me. I'll be gone after a while, but I listen to them play, and by the time the guest artist comes on, I'm gone, because I didn't come here to hear them. I came here to hear Virgin Islands music,
Yes.
experience Virgin Islands food, everything Virgin Islands, because we're celebrating Virgin Islands emancipation,
And that's the thing there. I think we need to do a better job
know?
of understanding and recognizing our unique identifier.
Yeah.
Because even musically speaking, even from a production standpoint, we have a very unique identifier in the song,
Correct.
the tones,
Correct.
our rhythms,
Correct.
to the point now where in Trini and Vinci and all these other places, they are now trying to capture our same VI rhythm, our same style that
Correct.
some of our own people shun, and they roll with it and they produce them and they release them and put them out, and then the same persons that may shun it here, they're supporting them. And I'm kind of like confused a little bit.
Yes, exactly. So
I digress.
yes, but I mean, like I said,
But we're going to be making a lot more better strides to get that
I
done.
expect,
Trust me.
because
Trust me.
you know me, dog. I'm gonna forever be down your tank. Whoever is the chairperson, I'm gonna be down there tank. I'm
As
gonna,
you should be.
because for me, it's Virgin Islands Festival, and that's what I
Yes.
want to celebrate at that time. And like you
Yes.
say, guests can come in, but they're not the focus. Virgin Islands heritage and culture is the focus. And yes, our culture is evolving. Cultures evolve.
Of
but that
course.
doesn't mean you have to lose your identity as it
Exactly.
evolves. So,
Exactly. Never get rid of the foundation.
correct. A biggie during festival, like couple days before festival, time is winding down fast, but I gotta get this in.
Sure.
There was some leaked information coming out of you guys' committee, and some voice notes came out whether, it shouldn't have gone public. And I kind of had an issue with that. Like, how does that happen, and how did you deal with that?
Well, I was made aware like the day after it happened or something like that. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. You have your ideas of who the person or persons may be, of course, and those things obviously did come from within the executive camp. And I was disappointed, not shocked, not really surprised, but disappointed. I'm appalled. I don't handle betrayal and disrespect well.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the lowest of the lows that you can go.
Yeah.
And why would you try? And those things are so dangerous because, well, after even hearing the voice notes, I didn't even really hear anything that was really and like anyone was saying anything derogatory directly
Right. It
towards
wasn't
anyone.
that it was derogatory.
Yeah.
It's
But the whole point is that
confidentiality.
exactly the whole point that something can leak from there
Mm-hmm.
and from within a chat. Then you don't. My whole point is, what else came from there? You don't know.
Yeah.
Documents. You don't
Correct.
know.
Correct. I could tell you, Doc. I think
And
I
that's
am
why I
in
have severe
maybe
trust
one
issues.
group, but I don't sit in
know?
them at all.
I really don't know group chats, to be honest with you. Like I've
Yeah.
been adding and even I'm going to get licks for this family chats, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't mess with them. And for
Yeah.
these exact same reasons.
Exactly.
You know.
It's very
But
unfortunate.
What's in darkness will come to light,
Yeah.
And
It's unfortunate,
There are ways
yeah.
to deal with these things, and I will be dealing with them.
Yeah.
I already have started, but that's for another time.
Good stuff.
Those
Okay.
persons will be dealt with.
Our closing question, my closing conversation is around whether festival and fairs celebration should be free or not, and that is to go into the village. Before I
Okay.
say that, can I say that I was happy to see the little satellite events happening around festival because that's what I grew up seeing. That's how we celebrated festival.
Yes.
Like the village would be happening and you go to the village and then you have all these little satellite events happening. And it made the event feel more
Of
of
course.
a big involved celebration. So I was happy to see that return. I think there were some issues and the festival and fairs had kind of put on their foot and created some blockage as to, stopping other bands and entertainment from coming in and having
Yeah, that was
side
that was a
events.
while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that. In terms of Festival Village, I would like to see it free for everybody. And I would like to get your position on that. And the reason I would like to see it free is because of the meaning and the significance of the celebration that we're having. It's our emancipation and it's, to do with our freedom. And I don't think you should have to pay to celebrate your freedom. If you didn't have the money to do so, then you had to stay home. I feel that it should be free and open to everybody.
Well, there are quite a number of other persons that have shared the same sentiment with you that feel it should be free. And that's something we have to look at going forward. I can't sit down here in front of you now and tell you whether it will or will not be free next year or going forward.
Right.
It certain compromises that have to be made, of course, certain harsh decisions. And then if it's going to be free, then you have to decide, like, for instance, whether you're going to have a certain level or caliber of entertainment, whether you're going to be importing certain entertainment, and then the cost, who's going to pay for them. Because, other places that have villages and stuff, like even right next door, they have a way higher level of corporate sponsorship and things like that.
Understood.
So
Understood.
that's actually something that we're pushing for going forward, like having real corporate partnerships and, having like certain nights and different things like that sponsored and stuff. So hopefully it's something we can look forward to, at least to a certain degree, But I take your point, and like I say, a lot of other persons share that sentiment, but it's something we have to work towards, and we have to put certain things in place for.
Okay. I definitely think that the corporate sponsorship can work. I know you'll figure out how to go around that. I'm going to interject and say, this governments waste, they waste millions of dollars every year. I'm sure they can throw $700,000 behind, a celebration of our freedom annually. We waste a lot. So, I think we can do that if we really wanted to.
So when you
make
say
it free.
So, one question with that. Are you just particularly referring to the village or everything?
What do you mean everything?
Meaning like, okay, you will have several other events that are part of your emancipation celebrations, like 3 or 4 different pageants.
No, I think the pageants could be, you can charge to go to the pageants.
Okay, so just specifically the village, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the
Okay,
entry
got
to the
you.
village, yeah.
So not fundraisers or
Yeah.
black parties or anything like that?
No. The village,
Got
the
you.
celebration, and the celebration is mostly inside the village, and August Monday parade, and of course Jubilees and
Yeah.
Rise and Shine.
Well, Jubilee free already.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Those
Just
are free.
joking.
The village, yeah, if we could make that free. The side events that you guys do for fundraisers
Yeah.
and the Queen shows, I think you can charge
Well,
for those. But
going forward, definitely, there's going to be a whole lot of changes happening. As you see now, we already made a significant amount of changes already, and we're trying to strive for what's in the best interest of the whole community.
Yes.
So these are conversations that have to be had,
Yeah.
and we will be dealing with this going forward.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's great. I am looking forward to 2023. I think a lot of people are. I expect to see a lot of announcements
Yes,
as
you
we
will.
lead up.
You will.
I expect to see many of our fish fries happening, those types of fundraisers.
Oh, I am putting you right down right now. Let me make a mental note
charging you.
and put it in my phone that Cindy has volunteered to help clean the fish for all the fish fries coming up. Okay? You wonderful folks saw and heard it here on Cut Deep.
You did not hear my mouth. Listen, that's the one thing I hated out of my childhood, cleaning fish. You will never catch me cleaning a fish ever in my adult life. Whenever I pass Easton,
So you're gonna fry them
it's
though?
me, and I can do I'll volunteer for anything else. I'm not cleaning the fish. Every time I stop by
cleaning
Gary,
is what we need.
Gary, did you clean fish for me to have? No, well then I can't buy any fish from you because I'm not cleaning any fish. That's the one thing y'all can take it from here. Cindy is
We'll
not
change that going
cleaning
forward.
any
You'll
fish.
clean the fish for the next fish fry.
I cleaned too much fish in my younger days, but it was fantastic having you once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving us that update. We're looking forward to 2023.
Yes.
And thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. This is the first episode of season 7, a brand new season. It's going to be an exciting season. I'm not going to tell you who some of our guests are going to be, but we're going to have some interesting, dynamic, and controversial guests. And we're excited. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and see you next week.